How I used NLP to escape the friend zone. You ever had that moment when you realized you played yourself? I did. There was this girl, let's call her Emma. We talked every day. Inside jokes, late night texts, deep conversations. The kind of connection that felt effortless. But there was one problem. She didn't see me as a guy she could date, just a friend. And the worst part, I put myself in that position. That's when I knew something had to change. See, attraction isn't just about looks or charm. It's about how someone perceives you. And I used NLP, a psychological technique, to shift the way she saw me without being pushy, weird, or fake. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what I did, why it worked, and how you can use this in your own life, whether you've been friend-zoned, overlooked, or just want to change how people see you. Let's get into it. Emma and I met through mutual friends. From day one, we just clicked. We could talk about anything, and honestly, I thought I had a shot with her. But after a few weeks, I started noticing something. She would tell me about guys she was interested in, ask for advice, and at one point she literally said, "You're such a great guy. I wish I could find someone just like you." Ouch. That's when it hit me. I had positioned myself as the safe, non-threatening guy, the one she could talk to about other guys. I had become the nice, predictable presence in her life. And the truth is, people aren't attracted to predictability. They're drawn to emotion, excitement, and challenge. So instead of staying in that lane, I switched things up. The shift, NLP in action. Here's what I did, and this is something you can use too. First, I used something called pattern interrupt. One night we were hanging out at a cafe, and she started talking about some guy she was unsure about. Instead of giving her the usual, "Oh, you deserve better" response, I did something different. I laughed and said, "You ever notice how some people get so caught up in their type that they completely miss what's right in front of them?" She stopped mid-sentence, looked at me. That was the pattern interrupt, a phrase that forced her to think differently for a second. Then I used future pacing. I leaned back and said, I've realized I'm really drawn to someone who's got this fun, adventurous energy. Like the kind of person who makes even a random grocery run feel exciting. Someone who's kind but also knows how to challenge me. Someone who I can have deep conversations with at 2 a.m, but also just goof off with. Now this was important, because as I was saying it, she was comparing herself to that description. Was she fun, adventurous? Could she challenge me? And once that thought entered her mind, she started seeing me differently. Then I dropped this. "It's funny. I bet if we ever ended up together, people would be shocked. They'd be like, 'Wait, how did that happen?'" She laughed, but I noticed something else. She blushed, and that's when I knew. The dynamic had shifted. Fast forward a week. She started texting me first, sending inside jokes, saying things like, "I feel like we've been hanging out differently lately." 2 weeks later, she asked me to hang out. A month later, we were dating. So what happened? I didn't trick her. I didn't act like someone I wasn't. I just changed the frame. Instead of being the always there, reliable friend, I made her reevaluate who I was in her life. And that's the key. People don't decide to friend zone you. They just react to the version of yourself you've presented. The takeaway. So if you feel stuck in the friend zone, or like people only see you in one way, don't beg for their attention. Instead, interrupt the pattern. Say or do something unexpected to shift their perception. 2. Reframe yourself. Talk about what excites you, what you're drawn to, in a way that makes them subconsciously compare themselves to it. 3. Let them come to the realization on their own. The second they start questioning their perception of you, the game changes. And just like that, the friend zone, it disappears. If this resonated with you, drop a comment below. Have you ever unknowingly friend zoned yourself? Or had someone suddenly see you differently? And if you want more breakdowns of real-world influence strategies, hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, there's way more to come.